Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Leanne's Lounge. I'm your host, Leanne, and lounging with us today we have Karen and Joe, who are the founders of Little Red's Legacy. Before we get into it, I just want to let you know that the following discussion contains possible trigger topics such as death, and the opinions shared on this podcast are for conversation purposes only and contain no legal or medical professional advice. This podcast is proudly sponsored by the wonderful Twisted Wire Starter, which is a locally owned Irish business. They supplied us with some epic podcast cups and they create custom pieces of jewellery, cards, cups and more, and I'm so excited to be supporting her do her thing. That's at Twisted Wire Starter on Instagram. So without further ado, episode 1.
How are you doing? I'm Joe Hughes.
I'm Karen Phoenix.
And we're both born and reared here in Finglas. We're together a long time and we have 2 children together, Zoe and Sean. Zoe is the princess of the family. I know she has a little son now and he's called Sean too, and he's the life and soul of the house, and we'd be lost without him.
Lovely, yeah, brilliant.
He's the reason we get up in the morning and carry on through the day. And just one of a pity is that his uncle Sean never got to meet him. They don't know for a fact they would have been best friends. Young Sean always talks about him, asks questions about his uncle Sean. It's heartbreaking, but it's very nice as well. Zoe is 25.
25, yeah.
And she misses her brother more than that in the world. Every day is a struggle without Sean. Some days are hard, some days are even harder. But we try our best here as a family, and we look out for each other, and we give each other a shoulder to cry on and an arm, 2 arms to hug.
Brilliant, thanks very much. It's lovely to have you on the podcast today, Joe and Karen. We really appreciate you reaching out to us and being able to give us the opportunity to spread the campaign awareness around Dublin, Ireland at large, and hopefully the world over. So just after that lovely little introduction about Sean, we'd love to be able to get into a little bit more information on what it is that you do exactly in terms of the campaign for sepsis awareness across Ireland.
So when Sean passed away, we found out it was from sepsis. We had no idea what sepsis was. It was a word we never heard of before. So the first thing you do, as most people do, we Googled, and we looked at the HSE websites, and there wasn't very much on the HSE website, so we had to go further afield, the UK websites and the US ones, and we found out what sepsis was. And we couldn't grasp the lack of awareness here in Ireland of such a big killer in the world.
Wow.
So after Sean had passed away, Sean passed away in the January, and in the April we sat at this table and we decided that something has to be done to spread the awareness about sepsis, because we wouldn't have been able to live ourselves if we knew about sepsis and we didn't tell anybody else. Absolutely. And the same thing happened to them as parents, as grandparents, as brothers, sisters. It's devastating. So we couldn't let another family go through what we're still going through. So that's why we really, really started the campaign going then. And it's thriving since from that time, April 2018. We're absolutely thriving with it and we're doing our best with it every day.
Fantastic. So you've reached many people the country over, to say the least.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of cooperation with different parties now in Ireland in order to get the word out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Who do you primarily work with in association with now for the campaign and that's run?
So at first we went local. So we reached out to schools, and because we had found out that sepsis, the age group was around Sean's age group that knew the least about sepsis awareness.
Okay.
So that's when we made a decision then. We'd reach out to the schools, see would they like to have us. We'll tell them Sean's story. And like that, we tell them we're not medical professionals, but we've been through the worst devastation that any parent can go through from sepsis because it's so sinister. And we just wanted people to be vigilant and just to look out for the signs. It's as simple as that. Just to look out for the signs and to have it in your head that, you know, could it be sepsis?
Could you break down the key signs of sepsis that people could be made aware of?
So the anagram is S is for shivering, fever or very cold. E is for extreme pain or discomfort. P is for pale or discoloured skin. S is for sleepy, difficult to rouse or confused. And I feels like I might die. And S is shortness of breath.
Okay, and that's casted out on many posters that we have across the country at the moment with all of the awareness that's coming through.
It is indeed, yeah.
And there's a very active Instagram page surrounding all of the awareness, and it's run primarily by yourself, Joe, is it?
Yeah, you know, the first page we had unfortunately got hacked.
Okay.
And we set up a new one, and that's swimming, that's taken off well, that is. You know, a lot of work is done through social media because that's the outreach of today. You know, that's the platform the youth, everybody is getting into. Some of our successes was we got posters on a lot of the Dublin buses, our campaign posters, and we got them on the advertising pods in some of the main shopping centres in Dublin. You know, and then we work alongside with the OPW. We get some of the amazing landmarks around Dublin illuminated on World Sepsis Day.
Fantastic. That's really great reach for awareness.
One of the main ones that we get done is the Phoenix Monument in Dublin's Phoenix Park, because Karen's surname is Phoenix, and because it's close enough to us, so we get a good attendance to that. And it will be illuminated when we're all there, and that has become a tradition. A lot of Sean's friends and some family and that come around, and we let off balloons. We have a few words, you know. But the whole thing is, Leanne, you know, what strikes me every day when I will always do research. Sepsis deaths are preventable. Sean's death was preventable. Anybody that dies from sepsis is unnecessary. Before you even came today, I was looking at stuff, you know, and we're in with the Global Sepsis Alliance and WorldSepsisDay.org, and on one of their videos, they say the main way of stopping sepsis is awareness. That's top of the pyramid, awareness. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, at the time when there was no information out there, easily readable, easily accessible, plain to understand information in Ireland, we made our own. Myself and Karen went around a lot of clinics and surgeries, and we put in posters and leaflets. And some of them were allowed and some of them weren't allowed, and that wouldn't deter us. You know,
what was the reasons that they were disallowing this?
Well, you know, some more up to date surgeries wouldn't have any leaflets. So when we've been in hospitals visiting people, and you see information boards with all the leaflets, well, some of them have been empty, and some of them would have anything from arthritis to diabetes to lice, heart attack, nothing about sepsis. And sepsis is the biggest killer in the world. And not one thing about sepsis. Now, sepsis used to be called blood poisoning years and years ago. Then it was called septicemia, and now it's called sepsis. Well, if a car is called a car today, it'll be called a car next year. I don't understand why the name was changed. I have a theory, but anyway. But, you know, there's 47 to 50 million cases of sepsis in the world each year, leading to at least 11 million deaths. 1 in 5 deaths worldwide is associated with sepsis. And sepsis is the number one cause of death in hospitals. It's the number one cause for hospital readmissions. And it's the number one healthcare cost. You know, that statement I didn't make up, that can be backed up, you know.
Yeah.
So up to 50% of sepsis survivors suffer from long-term physical and or psychological effects. You know, if you're lucky enough to survive sepsis, if it doesn't kill you, it can leave you in another way. And with these facts known and the awareness that we raise, we seem to be getting somewhere with it now. But anyway, I don't understand why more is not being done about it. There's an average of 7 deaths every day in Ireland from sepsis, an average. And that's only what's recorded on the death certificate as a sepsis death. I guarantee you a real figure would be much higher.
Yeah.
So, death by an infection, death by UTI, pneumonia, or lung infection, is death by sepsis. But they won't put sepsis on the death certificate.
Different variants in the terminology for it. Right, okay.
Oh, sepsis is always caused by an infection. Any infection can lead to sepsis. And that's what we say in the schools and that when we go around. Anybody can get an infection. But did you ever think that infection could kill you? Simple as that. You know, the whole takeaway that every day when I look at the photographs of my son, I think that was unnecessary for him to die of sepsis when it was so preventable. You know.
So across the country, with the amount of schools that you visit, like, how was the reception from the kids? Did they feel they
always
they had a better
yeah.
knowledge once you had been
Always
there?
brilliant. Myself and Karen, we go in and before we give the presentation, we give them a quick rundown of who we are, and we say to the lads or the girls, we said we could be your parents, we wouldn't be your parents, you're too ugly. You know, and I get them laughing and break down the barriers and that, and I'd say to them, just sit back, and watch what's being put in front of you, because if somebody stood in front of my son and get that presentation, because we give out cards and fridge magnets, leaflets at our presentations, so if somebody stood in front of our son in school and he brought that home, maybe, just maybe, things would be different for our son. You know, that's why it's called Little Red's Legacy, because our son was a rapper and a performer, and he had red hair, and the stage name was Little Red, and a legacy is something that you leave behind for other people to benefit from. So that is an honourable title for our campaign.
Absolutely, yeah.
So to date, we've been contacted, we're well over the 30 mark anyway, so 30 people have contacted us, say that their life or someone they care for, someone belongs to them, their life has been saved as a direct result of Little Red's legacy and Sean's story.
Fantastic.
So even if it only done one person, it'd be worth it. It'd save one person, and that's only the people that contact us. You know.
Yeah. Again, the people that would be anonymous, but still, you know, a person who has been affected by that, or a family member being affected in some way, that they have been helped due to the awareness being brought out in the rollout of the campaign. That too could be a number that's not acknowledged on the grander scale. Yeah.
You're only talking this morning, like we don't realise the amount we've achieved.
Absolutely, yeah.
We don't.
Or the impact that we have on people. It's only when they say it, like, you are actually saving lives, and you don't think of it as like that.
Yeah.
You think of it as just, you want to get that word out there. You don't want other parents, and I say it all the time, you don't want other parents going through what we're going through.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we had a kind of only a little platform. So that's when we start reaching out to the HSE. And Joe, of course, more so than me, like a dog with a bone. He's a thorn in their side. They had to sit up and listen then near the end, and they're on board with us. You know, because we're not going to stop what we're doing. And they need to be recognising that people need to know about sepsis awareness. And they're the governing body that can do that more so than us. Well, with our help, definitely, but they have more of a platform to do these things, to get leaflets out into doctor surgeries, into the hospitals, into the parents' hands that they can read while they're sitting in the doctor's surgery with their child, and they're looking at that, and you're not scaremongering anyone. You're scaremongering by not telling people about sepsis awareness.
Yeah.
Like they're hiding it.
Yeah.
You know, so they are on board with us, but we do kind of, what would you say, keep our foot on the pedal with them as well, you know.
We've consulted with them, you know.
Yeah.
We're bringing, there's a new leaflet, there's a new sepsis leaflet, fully, what would you say, very, very comprehensive, all in one leaflet. Because our argument was, why would you have a leaflet for sepsis with pregnant ladies, or sepsis for older people, or sepsis for kids? Why is it all different? Because if we go into a doctor's waiting room, I'm not a woman, so we wouldn't take that leaflet.
Yeah.
So you'd have it all in one. And the magic word was that it was going to save money. So they were on board with that. So there's a new leaflet coming out
The
very
ears
soon.
perked up slightly there.
Because we had to say to them, look, sepsis doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
Any age, any gender.
Yeah, very true.
You
very
know,
true.
so why would you have 3 different leaflets for?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Wasted taxpayers' money.
There's a huge amount of red tape, and you know, just people, they don't think outside the box. And I think they needed people like myself and Karen that do think outside the box. And we can say what that person would like to say, but
They can't say.
you know,
Yeah, but they don't.
Yeah.
many a time we were we were in Leicester House more times than half the TDs in there,
Yeah.
you know. And we know a way around it better than the fellas in there that are being paid for it. You know, we're very passionate about the campaign, and we don't take, we're not paid by anybody, so it's not like your boss can tell you don't do that, don't say that.
Yeah.
What we say is for the benefit of the Irish public. It's for the public worldwide. We have followers on our campaign from all corners of the world. You know, we constantly get messages, private messages from people that ask us questions, and we would tell them straight away that we're no medical professionals and we never claim to be. But you know, if you're concerned, go and see your own doctor, or go into A&E and don't waste your time with the doctor. Go straight in.
Yeah.
You know, there's someone, just to talk about one case, you know, there's a friend of our son's, and he has a very young child now, and that child had sepsis, and they knew to ask because of Sean's story.
Wow.
And that child still gets to live another day because it's our guardian angel Sean in heaven. Just that alone is all worth it, you know.
Just goes to show the power of the word of mouth in the sense of spreading awareness, and that, as you said, that's really what's needed. It's not about, you know, the financial ties to
Shouldn't
it.
be,
It's just
shouldn't
about
be,
people getting down and actually getting the word out there.
It shouldn't be about the money, you know. Like when we met with the previous Minister of Health, Simon Harris, he said that he was going to put $1 million aside for sepsis awareness. That never happened. One thing that did come out of it was, we suggested to him, we seen it in the Isle of Man, and we said, why can't we have it here in Ireland, have the sepsis graphics on the side of the ambulances? Because the ambulance men here that night with Sean were in and out so many times. If they'd seen the signs of sepsis on the side of their ambulance, maybe they would check them for it. Mm. It definitely is a lifesaver. But as getting back to what I was saying, that's what came out of one of them meetings. Simon Harris took our advice, and with the National Ambulance Service, we got the signs of sepsis put on the new fleet of ambulances nationwide. And that was an achievement for us. And every time we see it, we give it a wink, because that's Sean.
Yeah. Or people would say to
you know that's your work out there, individual field of everybody on.
Yeah.
We're just two ordinary parents, you know, and we live in an ordinary house and we try to live an ordinary life. But we lost our extraordinary son. And nothing's going to change that. But what we're doing is what he would want us to do. 100%.
Yeah.
You know, because I know if the shoe was under our foot, he'd be doing it for us. And it's brilliant with Sean's friends, always behind us on everything that we do.
Yeah.
And they're all young men and women hitting their 20s now.
Some of them have their own children now as well, and they're
Well
self,
aware. Yes, they are.
Are well aware, yeah. Which they would have been the age group then that wouldn't have known anything about it before Sean passed away. Like ourselves, we knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. I would have heard of it.
Yeah.
But for some reason I always just related it to a wound or an open cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there was never that extra information out there about it.
Yeah. Until I actually visually seen the campaign that was put in, the awareness created surrounding Sean's death. It took for Sean passing away for me to truly know the extent of the seriousness of this as the thing itself.
Yeah.
And it was quite an emotional thing to hear that had happened.
Yeah.
And that many people the world over are going through these experiences as well, like yourselves, in terms of family that have suffered with it, and you know, the individuals themselves that have actually been in a position to come through it. You know,
You know, one of the main
extraordinary things.
one of our followers now that has come out of it, you know, come through the other side. He has parts of him amputated,
Right.
you know, and that poor chap, he had to get his house adapted and his car adapted, and he had to fight to get a medical card.
Yeah. Goodness.
And a couple of other guys and girls, they're left with serious mental problems. They can't sleep at night. They can't sleep. It's very bad depression. So, you know, a lot of side effects after sepsis if they do survive it. You know.
So, would you like to tell us a little bit about Sean with his music?
So
His
Sean,
big name with his music.
yeah, he started very young listening to music, and Joe and myself always loved rap music. We grown up
Great.
in the 80s, 90s, Tupac, Biggie, we loved them all. We still listen to them today. And
You have a great taste in music, I think.
Sean always loved it. He loved all the old music. He used to go up to me dad, and my dad would always listen to like Frank Sinatra and Dame Martin, and he loved that type of music as well. And the two of my dad had a music room, and Sean would go up sitting there with him, and the two would be singing and listening to music, and Sean would be doing all his research. And so from an early age, he really had a liking of music. Now, he was into every sport under the sun, but it was music really, that was his forte. And he was brilliant at it.
So his legacy not only lives on with the campaigning that you're doing in
It's the
in
music,
the name of Sean, but the music it's quite a portrayal of Sean.
Yeah.
Loads of people, I know Sean's music through other people that I'm in touch with now, and they're friends of Sean. And every second rap I hear has a mention of Little Red in it.
Yeah.
And they're such proud people to be representing him in their songs, because he was such a big part of their lives and a very, very big impact on their music, so it seems.
Yeah.
Especially LZ, Leon Pepper, seems to have quite a stance for Sean and his music.
Definitely. They were good. They were tight.
Yeah.
They were, you know, in their own little way. And but on the other side of the coin then, Sean was a little gentleman and had respect for everybody, and he was way above his years. You know, people used to say to Zoe, is that your big brother? She said, no, that's my little brother. You know, there's 5 years, 4 years and the difference between them, like, but everyone loved him. He knew everybody. He couldn't go anywhere and everyone was, all right, Sean, what's the story, Little Red? Or Red, they'd call him, and he'd tell me, oh, that's such and such, and, you know, but everyone liked him.
Michael D. Higgins took a liking.
Oh, he did, yeah.
What was that interaction
So,
there?
when Sean started in Closh on his first year, he, I think it was 50 years old then when Sean's first year over there. So Michael D. Higgins came to the school to put up a plaque and, you know, to mark the 50 years of the school being in Finglas. And Sean was picked to show Michael D. around and his wife.
Brilliant.
And he done a great job.
Yeah.
He done a great job. But they loved him and he was laughing and joking. Sean would just be the same with anybody.
Himself,
With me, his dad, or anybody, or someone off the telly, he'd be the same with them people all the time. He didn't see a difference in anybody, you know. And then when Sean passed away, then we got a call, wasn't it, from to say Michael G wants to come to the house.
Yeah,
And we thought it was a wind up.
I thought it was a prank.
We had got a letter forced from him to pass his condolences on, like.
Right. God.
And then Joe got the call then, and yeah, he came to the house then because he
Very
couldn't go
good.
to the funeral. Yeah,
Ah, good.
yeah, he signed a picture of him and Sean together, and I have it inside. And
Ah, that's nice.
so that's the impact Sean had on everybody, men, women, and children.
Yeah.
And he'd give the women a good hug,
Yeah.
give the men a good handshake.
Yeah.
Boy, he was wise beyond his years.
Fantastic.
For he was only 15 and a half, you know.
Yeah.
But as I said, getting back to the music, then he loved performing. The Aviva Stadium he was in, Crow Park, Dublin Castle. Oh jeez,
The National Concert Hall.
National Concert Hall,
The Helix.
the Helix.
Fantastic.
Yeah, just to name but a few.
Some of those places are where some of the artists in Ireland would only dream to
Yeah.
ever perform.
Yeah, and
No,
not a
that's-
bother to him. Not a bother.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Great confidence he had. Oh, he was in the African Festival in Ballymun one year.
Brilliant.
He's the only white dude there. Yeah, and he was up rapping, not a bother. He would go
Brilliant,
anywhere he
yeah.
was asked, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah. Truly a musician. Like,
Yeah.
True and true.
yeah.
And a wind up.
Fantastic.
And a wind up.
Terrible
Well,
wind up, yeah.
Well, you know, he was an amazing son. A brilliant brother to Zoe. But he was just amazing with his friends. And the love and support his friends showed us.
And still to this day.
Still to this
the
day.
girls and the boys,
Yeah.
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 And I just tell them, you know, you should be proud of yourselves. And it was Sean's 24th birthday on the 3rd of July this year. We had a party for him. And the boys and girls came and they all had a brilliant night. They done them proud. It was a great night. And at the end of it, when we came home, I said to Karen, if he was there, well, he was there in spirit, but I don't think he would have changed the thing.
No.
You know? And, oh yeah, his bit of birthday cake, it was only lovely.
Very good. So it was a good turnout then for
It was a
that
great
celebration.
turnout, of
Great
course it was,
turnout,
yeah.
Yeah. He celebrated day by day
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
everybody around.
absolutely.
Fantastic support network of people that, you know.
The things that
push
have
that
been
campaign.
done for him and like his legacy and that he's wrapped up with the monument up there in the park. What's that park called? Kildona Park.
Oh, Kildona Park, yeah.
There's a memorial bench in Johnstown Park for him. That's where him and his pals used to hang around.
Brilliant.
You know, there's
Just
look out the
loads.
way.
Yeah, I seen the picture down
Yeah.
the back, down
Yeah,
the
no,
back
we-
garden on the wall, the photo.
Apart from our family, apart from Sean's family, he will never be forgotten.
No.
He'll never be forgotten. He's too much of a high spirit, you know, too much of a blue star to ever figure it out.
Well, you say you're like a magnet. People just attract to you.
Yeah.
You know, he was that type of person that,
Yeah.
you know, not a bother, you'd be, you know, and he'd be out with his mates and I'd be down the village and he'd shout, he'd always whistle at you, love you, and wouldn't it be a bother, it could be 10 mates with him. And if anyone said that, I'd say, yeah, that's me mad, you love her, right? You know, we'd pull up someone like that, you know,
Yeah.
not a bother to him, but he had a huge impact on everyone. He
Yeah.
really did.
His images are everywhere. Like we have a big poster there in the job that you brought in.
Yeah, yeah.
I've already had an awful lot of people querying about
Okay.
the campaign as a
Right.
whole, and then a lot of people commented that they knew him from the area.
Yeah,
They knew his music.
very good.
They knew him in person, or they were a family member.
Yeah,
And even in that sense, in the last couple of weeks since it was, put up again,
brilliant.
it's just being able to say, there's the information,
Yeah,
take a picture of it,
yeah,
keep on your phone,
that's
you know,
it. Yeah,
keep an eye out for it.
yeah.
It's been nice to be able to be somebody who's aware thanks to the campaign and that
Yeah.
you're doing.
Of course, yeah.
What sort of direction do you feel that you want to push the campaign in the coming months? Like, have you any plans of difference that?
We're meeting a couple more people out at HSE, and we always said, it was said to us, we got it, we were brought in, we had a couple of events in the Mansion House, and at one of the events, we pulled aside by a reporter, and he asked us, "Do you think tonight was a success?" And I said, "Of course it was. There's 100 people in that room now that know more about sepsis than they did when they walked in."
Yeah.
We got an award through that. Then we got an award off the Lord Mayor of Dublin, and I was asked by him, when are you going to stop? I said, well, I'm never going to stop. But in reality, we spoke, and the cherry on the cake for us would be an ad on Irish national television for sepsis awareness. We spoke to someone very high in the HSE about this, and we said it's doable, but it's about the packaging. Don't want to scare anybody. Well, through research, I've seen it done in Scotland and England, different countries, and how they've packaged it. So we have a meeting in September with this guy out of HSE, and we're going to show him. And please God, we get to see an ad on the telly.
Yeah,
you know,
that would be fantastic.
From day one, we always said, if the HSE was raising enough awareness about sepsis, we wouldn't be doing it. To us, it doesn't matter who does it. If it's not Little Red's Legacy, it's not your man next door, it's not the man on the moon, anybody. If somebody else was doing it, because there's no glory in what we do. We don't get paid for what we do. We don't want to be paid. Money doesn't come into it. We do it in memory of our son and everybody else around the world that has been affected by sepsis. But an ad, every home has a TV. And to see an ad on the TV would be the business. That's the pinnacle of our campaign. Everything else we've achieved
Yeah.
by getting there. This is the last. This be the cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
We find out in September.
Yeah.
And if it works, if it comes true, it'll be brilliant. We will still carry on, but we'll know that our goal has been achieved.
Yeah.
Fellas that go out playing matches don't win their matches all the time. So it won't bring us down if it doesn't happen. We keep plugging on. We have amazing support all around the country, all around the world.
We have.
You know, and words of kindness come to us on Sean's birthday, Sean's anniversary, World Sepsis Day. We always get private messages, and that means an awful lot to us. And vice versa, sepsis groups that we're involved with online, if somebody else's, if their son anniversary coming up, we would send them private messages.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be nice.
It's about that support now.
Absolutely.
Keep the
Definitely.
movement going,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, well, 5 years doing what we're doing. If somebody else was doing it, we wouldn't be doing it at all. And as I said, there's no glory in what we do. But you know, just to put in context, sepsis kills more people in Ireland than breast cancer. Sepsis kills more Irish people than heart attack. Sepsis kills more Irish people than lung cancer. Sepsis kills more people than prostate cancer. And sepsis kills more Irish people than colon cancer. Now, the figures are there. We didn't make them up. We got them done through research. It can be checked out. You know, if we were to make it up, we wouldn't think of making it as drastic as the truth. The truth is much scarier than that. Any fiction we can make up.
And we did say to the Minister for Health, Stephen Donnelly, and the previous Minister for Health, Simon Harris, that if 7 people a day in Ireland were dying of something else, there'd be outrage. So why not sepsis? It just seems to be very taboo, seems to be hidden for some reason. You know, but not where we're concerned, because we'll tell the world about it. You know?
You know, if there were 7 deaths a day in Ireland from anything else, there'd be outrage. One of the highlights of our campaign, we were in front. We put a petition together, and we petitioned the HSE and Stephen Donnelly. We wanted to know where the funds were going and why can there not be more in the budget for sepsis awareness. We were brought into that in the Oireachtas in front of the petition committee. A fella like me, we were never in front of, never done that like that in my life, you know.
Yeah.
And there's etiquette when you're doing that. Yeah. When you're speaking to them and when you stop speaking, you're supposed to say, well, right, it's all new to me, guys. That's all, lads. And to stop and see that they were hanging on every word we were saying. And even they were outraged that there were 7 deaths a day. Like, that's more than drowning in Ireland. That's more than car crashes with not wearing seatbelts. But yet there's advertisements for them.
Yeah, it's not being marketed as an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not taking anything away from the advertisements for not wearing seatbelts or drowning.
They're fantastic ads for something like that, like the meningitis. That's what my point was with them. The meningitis ad is brilliant. Yeah. Why can't there be something like that with sepsis? You're not scaring people. Yeah. As I referred back to earlier, you're scaring people more by not telling them. Yeah,
you're informing them of the opportunity of catching something.
And the Irish public, you know, they deserve the duty of care that the governing body should be giving them.
They deserve the gold standard.
Yeah.
You know, a fit and healthy, there was Sean. Fit and healthy young man with no underlying medical conditions and died of sepsis. A fit individual can die from sepsis within 12 hours because the mortality rate decreases by 8% every hour. You know, and to treat sepsis is very, very, you know, it's not very expensive. It has to be done in the hospital setting, and it's antibiotics and oxygen. But it has to be done in the hospital. We've since learned that ambulance men can't give that. We'd love to see that change.
Yeah.
We'd love to see that change because it would increase the likeness of survival.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes, you know, people that you meet say, you know, sepsis is hard to spot and this and that. But like, as I said, I'm no medical professional and I have a bit of common sense. Would you not start at the worst case scenario first when somebody goes into hospital that are not feeling great, that have had an infection?
Yeah.
Or when someone goes in there non-verbal?
Yes.
How are they going to tell, this is wrong with me, that's wrong? They can't speak.
Yeah.
So start at the worst case scenario. Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Think sepsis and save lives. That's the mantra, you know what I mean? Sepsis awareness saves lives. Think sepsis and save lives. So if you go into your doctors and you have an infection, well then don't look at it, you know, you think the worst and walk backwards and you might just save a life.
And I can't emphasise it enough that if you are sick or a loved one is sick and they're not getting better, get into A&E or your doctor, whichever you prefer, but don't be afraid to ask, could it be sepsis?
And if you think you're not being listened to, ask for the name.
Yeah.
And ask to be tested for sepsis again.
Yeah, by somebody else.
Because at the end of the day, it's your life or your loved one's life. You know, you have the duty of care for yourself. Get in, ask the question. If you don't like the answer, ask it again for someone else. Because we have been told there was a nurse in one of the Dublin Children's Hospital, and when the parents asked was it sepsis, they were kind of laughed at. They weren't taken seriously. They went to a different hospital and the child did have sepsis, you know.
And then it was that case scenario as well of you telling me how to do my job.
Yeah.
No, I'm a very concerned parent that I think my child might have sepsis.
Yeah.
You know, so, and, you know, it turned out it was sepsis. The child was very, very lucky to be here.
It's not about criticism to the person in the role.
No, absolutely not.
It's about shared knowledge for all parties to be informed.
Yeah.
So with all of that being said, the final message that you'd like to send out to anybody who could be listening, just to tie it up here, because I'm conscious of the time now, because we've gone into good depth of explanation with sepsis awareness, but the final message that you'd like to leave in people's minds moving forward,
just
as you push on with the campaign.
To push on with the campaign, educate yourself. You know, check out our social media platforms. We'll be launching our own website soon, Legacy.ie, and check that out. Check out the HSE. HSE National Sepsis Programme, they have now a very clear and concise information there for people. You know, look at sepsis awareness saves lives, and don't be afraid. Just ask, could it be sepsis?
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Karen and Joe. Really, truly, absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast for the very first episode as well. This episode is going to go out just in the run up to Sepsis Awareness Day, 13th. It'll be launched on the 12th to encourage everybody to be aware on the 13th of September. So thank you very much again, and we look forward to seeing how the campaign can roll out in the future, and fingers crossed we get that advertisement online and on TV stations across Ireland and hopefully the world at large one time.
And thanks very much, Leanne, and thanks for having us, and wish you all the best in your future endeavours.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.